Lee, your soul is mine. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carsillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California, joined by best friend the entire world over in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Elias, Lee, how are you doing today?
Mere days from spring, Ray. Soon, in just a few days, the sun will go down after 7 p.m. and will not go down before 7 p.m. for months. And Ray, this is the time of the year, as a hockey person, as a cold weather person, I've made the proclamation that I've had enough and I'm ready for the spring. And I say that usually around February and it's early March. I've had enough. I'm tired of it.
Yes.
I don't need the cold anymore on this side of the country. And I'm ready for the nice weather to come. And for you, that means swelteringly hot temperatures for no reason.
Yes. We had first spring last week. It was in the 80s, and now it's back down to the 60s. And then we'll have a couple of weeks of rain, and then we'll have proper spring. And then by Memorial Day, it'll be 115 degrees, and it'll be fire tornadoes everywhere. So
yes, fire tornadoes.
Yeah,
completely normal in the state of California.
The new normal, relatively new normal, last 10, 15 years
Nobody
or so.
has fire tornadoes better than you. You have the best fire tornadoes.
We have the best fire tornadoes here in California. They are the best. They are the best.
Nobody does it better than you.
They're covered in gold.
No other state has the cards. You have the cards.
We have. Anyway, we got a great show for you folks.
We're not talking about that at all. We promise.
No, yes. We've got wrestling. We've got a little bit of football. We got a little bit of baseball. A little bit of hockey and basketball. Got a little bit of geek stuff. But overall, just an overall solid week, I think. We're gonna kick things off. Actually, with a little bit of basketball. Speaking of the spring, we got March Madness around the corner, but we're not going to talk much about that. Although, congratulations to St. John's, Rick Pitino, first coach ever to win their conference with 5 different teams. St. John's is officially the Big East champion, or going to be, I think. I just want to double check that. That's basically locked in, but. Yeah, that's a big deal for that once great program that really hasn't been relevant since the 80s, and one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time coming in and really turning them around in just a couple of years. And but we're going to talk about the NBA. But Lee, are you excited for March Madness? Are you excited for college basketball? I just get excited for the tournament. I don't follow college basketball till the tournament, but.
Yeah, I'm a little more, this is not going to be a surprise. I'm a little more excited for the Frozen Four, the Frozen Face-Off, which is, the college hockey's version of that.
Yeah.
But March Madness is a great time. I mean, look, it's fun to follow when you get some underdogs, and you always do. And, I'm not into it like other people are, like where people are missing work, but I follow it. I'll be honest with you, Ray, and I have no problem admitting this. Women's college basketball, women's professional basketball has been more entertaining to me over the last couple of years than, the NCAA men's division or men's basketball. I'm just being honest. And again, it's not me being like women's sports. I'm all for women's sports. It's just been more entertaining. The storylines have been better. And I've been more interested to watch.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. And yes, I just confirmed first time in 40 years since St. John's has won the Big East. They beat Seton Hall on Saturday by 10 to lock it down. So that is I thought I read that properly. Anyway, I'm all over the place, folks. So sometimes I
dunked and then you took the ball out of the hoop and you threw it full court the other side, but you nailed it.
Yeah. So there we go. There we go. Anyway, but yeah, talking about that, we're going to talk briefly about the NBA. It's getting close to playoff time for both the NBA and the NHL. The NHL trade deadline is this Friday. But we're going to get into that after this. We're going to talk about the NBA. The 76ers are...
That's it. Going to be ripped apart after this season. The process has ended.
The process is over. Embiid is hurt again the rest of the year. He'll have officially played. He'll officially have been hurt at the end of the year. I think more games than he had played.
I don't know what the hell is happening with that basketball team when they were on the fringe of really going to the finals.
Yes.
For several years, and then all of a sudden, team is completely falling apart. They've lost their way. They need to rebuild. I mean, I would love Embiid to be a part of that, to be honest with you. But the truth is this, that guy wants to win. We're not going to bring it to him. unless some radical changes happen. They brought in the coaches, they brought in the players. It's not happening. And I got to remind Sixers fans all the time, especially now that Philly is becoming the city of champions, that the Sixers now are the only team amongst the three teams who have not been to a championship series since 2001. Like, think about that for a second. They have not been there since then. The Flyers, the Eagles, and the Phillies have all been to a World Series, Stanley Cup final, and or Super Bowl. The two have won, and the Sixers have never got past the conference final since Iverson. Process work, time to start over.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, you guys,
that's insane when you think about it.
And again, you got Paul George, had a lot of high hopes coming into this season, and
it's going to be 25 years since they've been to the final.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, right now you're 12th place in the conference. You're 3 back of the Bulls for that last play-in seed.
They're not doing anything this year.
I was going to say, even if you were to somehow sneak into that 10 seed down the stretch, do you even want it at this point?
Look, they are legit trying to give Sixers tickets away. They're down to. You're going to think I'm joking. Down to like $2 a ticket. Wow. They're trying to move them. Nobody wants to see that team play. They're so disgusted with the team. Wow. And again, I'm not putting this all on Bede. I'm not putting it all on management. It's just the environment is horrendous, right? And I'll be honest with you, man, I'm not trying to transition here. Like, the way the NHL 4 Nations Face-Off went and the way the Flyers are playing, they'd rather see other teams at this point.
Yeah.
Right? Phillies and the Eagles are surging. The Flyers are up and coming. The Sixers are the team that are going down on the roller coaster right now. That's where they're at. And I hope they can turn it around, because it's really a shame that with the talent that they had, the coaching that they had, the players that have come through here over the last 6 years, they couldn't get to the end.
Yeah.
The closest we got was losing to Toronto.
Yeah. No, it's true. On their way through
their
sole championship. Yeah. And it's fascinating to see. I mean, it is hard to have a city to have all their teams clicking at once. I mean, you mentioned it, like right now in New York, it's the football teams, right?
Yeah. It's very rare.
It's
very rare. I mean, the only city that's really done that, I mean, geez. I mean, the Yankees weren't great in '94. I mean, Boston's really the only.
I was going to say, I hate to say it, but it was probably Boston.
Yeah, there was a time when the Bruins, the Sox, the Celtics, and the Patriots were all winning.
Yeah, no, you look at the 2000s, and the late 2000s, the early 2010s.
Yeah, it's hard to
you
do.
had the Patriots in a Super Bowl every other year. You had the Red Sox win 3 of 12 championships. You had the Bruins win a cup, and you had the Celtics win a championship.
I can't think of any other time period where everybody's winning. Maybe New York in the 70s. There might have been the Knicks were pretty good back then, but Boston's the only one in recent memory.
The problem, even then, though, the 70s, though, the football teams were terrible still in New York.
Right.
The Giants were in the middle of basically the Giants were where they are now, which is the middle of a long.
I was thinking the Jets, but that was one year.
Even I was going to say that the Jets in '69, but then after that, they fell apart.
Let's do this real quick. If I'm not mistaken, if you start in 2011 with the Bruins, I think every team there has won since then, which is insane when you really think about it.
Yes, that is true.
2011
if you start specifically with 2011, then it is the Bruins, the Patriots, the Red Sox have a World Series, and the Celtics have a championship.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So
it's pretty crazy. I mean, tip the hat to Boston. Yeah, well, I will say this, that it's funny because Philly is probably the closest city to doing that, because Pittsburgh, the Penguins are not going anywhere. The Phillies, Eagles, and Flyers are coming up. The Flyers are clearly going the right direction. If the Sixers get it together, there is that chance that all 4 teams could be humming here. But maybe with the new stadiums and things like that, the Eagles look to be good for a while. The Phillies to have actually, this is a big contract year for the Phillies, so we'll see what happens.
Yes,
they did keep everybody together though.
This is a make or break year for Philadelphia for the baseball.
Well, like I said, all the contracts, and the people wondering why didn't they make more moves. Well, all their contracts end this year. Some Schwarber's this year, I think Bowman's this year.
There's a lot of teams. We're going to get into the baseball with a lot of teams conscientious of the luxury tax.
Yeah.
Even the Yankees. The Yankees made their moves and they stopped because they didn't want to go over the luxury tax without trading some of their other high-end players to free up that money.
Let the Mets have all that crap.
Well, and that's the thing is, I mean, we can get into all of that.
I can't wait for that not to work.
The Mets have. We're going to get back to basketball. The Mets have no pitching.
The
Mets have no pitching.
Can't wait for that not to work this year.
Jose Quintana just went to the Brewers, by the way. So even the last remaining free agent pitchers who have pitched for the Mets,
but Ray, they spent the money, so it's going to work.
Luis Severino went to the Athletics. Jose Quintana went to the Brewers.
Right, they spent the money.
Trying to turn the Yankees' former closer into a starter. That's the Mets' brilliant.
They're gonna win.
Anyway, speaking of winning, going back to basketball, my Knicks are solidly in the 3 seed right now in the East, 40-20. I mean, look, you win 2 out of every 3 games, you're gonna go places in every league. Every league that's a winning formula. You win 2 out of every 3, you're in the playoffs. You're gonna probably do some damage. The Knicks right now would take on the Pistons, who have really great job for them, have really kind of turned things around this year. Not going to lie. Again, we've still got 20 games to go. Not worried about the Pistons as a Knicks fan. I still think the top of the East is Boston. Speaking of Boston, we were just talking about them a little while ago. I still think Boston. I know Cleveland they have another 10-game winning streak right now. I know Cleveland has had an amazing year. They got off to a historic start. A lot of times these teams that go off to historic starts don't finish. We'll see if the Cavs can be the only, like, one of the few teams to can. But I think, again, still, I said it last year, and if it wasn't for injuries, I would have been right. Boston, New York. I'm still picking Boston, New York in the final this year. So
yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
East final.
Yeah. Well, obviously. Yeah. I think that's a safe bet. That's the final we want. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what people want to see. Look, New York needs to get back into the limelight with the Knicks. Yeah. New York was for the longest time a basketball city. Yeah. I don't think it has been for a while. I mean, we're a basketball city. Yeah. I don't know. It hasn't
been a basketball city since I would say the early 2000s, right?
Yeah, there's like that 99 team. It was thriving at that time. But
and obviously in the mid 90s when Jordan retired, the Knicks were able to then catapult themselves to the top of the East.
Imagine that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is a chance for basketball to really establish itself again as New York to establish itself as the Mecca. But again, they have to win a championship. The Knicks haven't won since 1974. The Knicks haven't won in our lifetimes. 50 years. So we'll see if this is the year. Probably not, but we'll see. Who knows? Fingers crossed. They're fun to watch. It's been a long time since
they're competitive. Listen, only one team's going to win. They're competitive, and that's all that matters.
Yes, it's been a while since we've had a fun Knicks team, and Brunson and OG and Josh Hart and all these guys are fun to watch. So can we transition to the NHL, Ray? Because another one of my predictions has come to pass, and I would like you to give me my flowers. 1 second. I will give you your flowers, but I quickly want to just mention the West because we want to also get into the trade deadline for the NHL, but I want to talk quickly about how the trade deadline for the NBA, at least for the Western Conference, really worked out for some
I like hockey. No, I'm just kidding.
I know you like hockey.
Jesus, go ahead.
The Lakers, since getting Luka, surprisingly, one of the best players in the world, now number 2 seed in the West. The Lakers have been on a tear. Yeah. I mean, the Thunder are still running away with the conference. You have like a kind of a bunch up between 2 and 5. And then, but like the Lakers have really established, like the Lakers are going to be a threat now because you have LeBron and Luka and they are clicking. They look phenomenal. And also it needs to be mentioned, Jimmy Butler going to the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors now have jumped up to the 6th seed. The West suddenly, it looked like the Thunder was going to run away with it, but now you have these perennial, more traditional powerhouses in the Lakers and the Warriors suddenly coming up right up behind them. Suddenly the West does not seem to be as clear-cut as it once was. Lee, thoughts on both these trades working out for these teams? Because this is what happens when you get, great, you give up nothing and get great talent.
This is what I hate about the NBA. I mean, it's just like, I'm trying to think of a metaphor, man. It's like trading cards and like you got the best 5 cards. Like what's the point of me watching if you can just buy your way to the top?
Yep.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just like basketball is a game. You can get 1 or 2 players and change your whole franchise. And
because you only have only 5 guys on the court at a given time.
Yeah, it's tough for me. It's tough for me. But what are my thoughts? Yeah, it's predictable. But the Lakers were going to be great. I mean, would you bring that guy over there? I mean, that's predictable. Yet LeBron and him, that's not a team that's going to suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's I mean, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, no, there's really nothing else to say. It's the truth. It's like,
I mean, what do you want to tell you? That's predictable.
Well, yeah. And because especially, and again, even though obviously there's only 5 guys on the ice plus the goalie in hockey, there's the shifts, right? Like in basketball, a lot of these times these guys play 90% of the game. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand that, but it's just like, again, this is like what they said about super teams a long time ago. And, you know, again, people always say, oh, the Bulls were a super team. They're pretty homegrown outside Rodman.
Right? Yeah. I mean, they drafted Jordan, right? They went and got Rodman for the second three.
And Pippen.
Like nobody wanted Pippen. Yeah. They got Pippen.
They built that team. Okay. Like that wasn't like I want this guy, I want that guy, and I want this guy.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they found Tony Kukoc. You know, they did all that stuff. That wasn't like, well, I just want to play with these guys.
Yeah. You know, I mean, well, that's it again. And we talked, there's been a lot of talk about the lack of leadership in the NBA. And, again, LeBron in the news for basically he came out and said, I don't want to be the face. I would never ask to be the face of the NBA. And it's like, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Just because you didn't do a press conference to say you asked for to be the face of the NBA. And like, it feels like he gets mad when the spotlight, when the spotlight that was on Jordan and Kobe and Magic back in the day and Bird and all them, that when it falls on him too much, he gets pissy. And I don't get it. And again, but this is part of the reason why I think a lot of folks, again, like what PK Subban said, is that the leaders, the faces of the NBA, don't want to lead. He said it in as many words. I'm paraphrasing here, right? Like
he said, "What are you playing for?" Like that's the NBA has a little bit of an identity problem. All right. I'll just leave it at that.
Jalen Brunson and the Knicks should be the new face of the NBA. I think Jalen Brunson would absolutely would. I think Jalen Brunson should win a championship and should take over as the face of the NBA. Please. Anyway, moving to hockey. It's time, Lee.
Oh, this is my favorite sport. I like it.
Yeah, this is your time. Yes. Things are getting interesting. We're what, about 72 hours away from the trade deadline. Yeah. Rangers just made an interesting trade.
Did they?
Dumping. I mean, we'll get into Jimmy Vesey and Ryan Lindgren for Dahan and what was the other guy's name?
That's a good trade.
Basically, Parsonen, and basically this was getting two guys who were not happy with their roles on the Rangers out of town for draft picks.
Right.
And you thought that some of these trades the Rangers have made this year hurt the team chemistry. Immediately, these trades helped the team. The Rangers win back-to-back games via 4-0 shutouts against teams that they should beat 4-0 in the Predators and the Islanders. And it's time for Lee. It's time for your flowers because you said that the Rangers might be going to turn it on. Yes. There we go.
That was horrible. Do a better job so that people can hear you. Right?
You were right. The Rangers are better now. We don't. To be fair, as of this moment, we are technically on the outside looking in.
You are right there.
We are tied with the Red Wings for the last playoff seed. The Red Wings will have a game in hand.
The Rangers were far too talented to not be in the equation. Now, the beauty of this season, for even I could say this about the Flyers right now still, is that the East is so compacted in that wild card race. Yeah. That the stars should shine. And that's why I said that the Rangers are in this fight and they are feeling it right now and they are believing again. And it seems like all the crap and that Four Nations face-off was exactly the break that they needed to kind of realign. And now you're making moves. I'm also going to say, too, that it's a very tight race. The Flyers are and this sounds so funny to say, they're near the bottom of the race, but they're like 4 or 5 points out. It's so tight. And they have not they have gotten a point every single game since the Four Nations face-off. Yeah. All right. So I said this too, I think if you go on a 10-game screamer, you're in. I mean, you're right in the race and the running.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like you're starting to see teams that to be fair, even Montreal's won 5 in a row.
Yeah, everyone's in it. Yeah, everyone's in it except Pittsburgh and Buffalo. Pittsburgh.
I mean, yeah, and even that, and even credit where it's due. Even Buffalo has played better in their last 10. It's too little, too late. Probably they're because they're 12. They're 12 points back with 20 games to go. But yeah, and Pittsburgh is not playing great, which it makes perfect sense. But yeah, if you go down from the Red Wings,
Flyers are 4 points out of a play. I mean, it's so tight. It's insane.
Again, that's why it's even bigger that the Rangers really shellacked, like really. The last 2 games against the Islanders, we've beaten them 5-1 and 4-0. We have kicked the snot out of them.
I'm just saying, like, it's crazy to me that the Red Wings could lose 2 games, we could win 2 games, and potentially they could flip. And obviously there's a lot of other teams in there, but that's how tight this is. And the Flyers are 4th from the bottom here. And it's not like the Islanders are 1 point behind us with a game in hand.
Well, that's the thing is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 7 teams.
Pittsburgh in there, really. There's a 10-point spread between the first and Pittsburgh, which is insane. That's insane.
Yeah, the top wild card, Columbus and Pittsburgh, are only separated by 10 points. Right.
I will say Pittsburgh has played 63 games, so everybody has got about 2 to 3 games.
Yes, nobody has played more games in the East than Pittsburgh. And to be fair, but nobody's played fewer, or the fewest amount of games played is Buffalo, but Buffalo's still so far behind.
Pittsburgh looks horrible. I actually went to go see the Flyers play Edmonton and Pittsburgh last week, and the Penguins look abysmal. I mean, they just don't have it.
No, they're done. Their championship window was closed. They got to rebuild. But Rangers are clicking. Rangers again beat the Predators 4-0, as they should, because the Predators are one of the worst teams in the league this year. And then they beat the Islanders 4-0. Quick and Shesterkin each having a shutout. And suddenly, I know the Red Wings have a game in hand, and the Blue Jackets have a game in hand. Rangers got a big game coming up against Washington tomorrow. Who are right now tops in the division. They lost a heartbreaker 3-2 to Toronto. The Rangers are playing like we thought the Rangers were going to play at the beginning of the year. And we'll see if any more moves get made before the deadline. But if the Rangers stay pat at this point, A, I wouldn't be surprised because I really don't know what else you can do. But also, B, like, this team is now with JT Miller, obviously, as a scorer. They shored up the defense. We'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, I think the Rangers are going to get in. I think that they're feeling it right now. They're reminding me a little bit of Edmonton last year. But how about this stat, right? This is I don't remember the last time I've ever said anything like this. All right, 14 of the 16 Eastern Conference teams have a winning record. They're above 500. That's nutty. It also means they're getting fat on the Western Conference. But the thing is like, I mean that's insane to me. I mean this is at least for the Eastern Conference, turning out to be one of the best seasons ever. Like the fact that again, my Flyers are near the bottom and they're very in it. Like they're, so you win it again. You go on a screamer, you're in.
Yeah.
And then a lot of surprising things here. Washington leading the conference. Leading the conference. Nobody saw that coming. All right. Yeah. I really thought they were down and out, but they made some incredible moves. Everybody's feeling the Ovechkin thing. You got to give Columbus tremendous amount of credit for losing. You lose Goudreau in the worst thing ever.
Yes,
and they're finding a way.
It's a rallying cry.
Yeah, right. I mean, everybody else that's there, especially in the Atlantic, Toronto, Florida, Tampa. They're going to be there in some form, and they're all fighting each other for that division. And then the Metro, Washington, Carolina, New Jersey. Not surprised about any of those. I mean, some people said New Jersey. I'm more surprised like Boston's not there right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, I'm surprised Boston has fallen.
Even though that's Atlantic, excuse me, but like, yes.
But no, the Devils. I mean, I said it too. Like, I mean, we both said it. Once they got Jacob Markstrom, it was like, okay, the Devils are going to probably be competitive again now because they've always been They've been a goalie away now for 10 years. Columbus. By the way, Columbus, the 3rd best home record in hockey. Only the Golden Knights and the Jets have better home records than Columbus right now.
The Jets are the best team in the league.
Yeah, and that's a big reason why, Columbus terrible on the road, but they are playing well at home, and that is a big reason why they are right now. They have a 2-point lead for that first wild card spot.
The entire Western Conference is not a surprise to me right now. There's nothing there that's shocking me when I look at the standings there. Yeah. But the East is interesting for sure.
I'm a little surprised by Minnesota maybe being in the 3rd spot, but
no, they're always there. They just blow it in the playoffs.
Yeah,
every year they're just hovering. I mean, they're in a wild card fight themselves, right?
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah, they're trying to hold off Colorado, who's only
yeah,
2 points behind them. But like you basically know who the top 7 teams in the West are
yeah,
going to be,
like yeah,
and then the question is going to be between the Flames, the Canucks, the Blues, and Utah. So a little surprising to see Utah there, but
yeah,
those are really the 4 teams that are viable, competing for that last
yeah.
wild card in the West.
I cannot tell you who's coming out of the East. I can, with confidence, tell you who I think would be coming out of the West. Right.
Yeah,
And that's great. I can tell you the top 3 teams that'll be left. The top 2 teams that'll be left in the West. The East, I mean, it could be anyone. I really can't tell you.
yeah.
While the Capitals are the top team in the East, that does not give me confidence they're coming out of the East.
No,
so,
no.
So it's interesting, right? And Tampa Bay is still right there. Actually, I'll say this: the only surprise in the West, which is abysmal, is Nashville, who made some amazingly high-profile moves against Steven Stamkos, Marchessault, and they are just miserable. In fact, Stamkos accidentally, God bless him, he put the puck in his own net last game on an empty netter. It was attributed to the goaltender scoring. Those trades, at least right now, did not work. It doesn't mean that they won't figure it out next season, but you got some real tested players there. It's not working. So that's the only team in the West that's shocking me.
Yeah, I didn't expect the Predators to be this bad either. But yeah, to your point about the East getting fat on the West, like the 3 worst teams in hockey are the Predators, Blackhawks, and Sharks. They're well solidly at the bottom of the West. I mean, San Jose deep into their rebuild.
Yeah. Well, they're San Jose has some with Macklin Celebrini, at least something to look forward to. But I look at Chicago and it's like, all right, you got Connor Bedard last year. Everyone was excited about that. He done nothing to support the kid.
Yeah,
and he's not having a horrible second season, but it's like, yeah, now you got to win.
And the thing is that nobody wants to go to Chicago.
No, why would you?
Yeah, like it's kind of they have a problem there in the league.
I mean, Bedard's got 49 points, 16 goals, 33 assists, leading his team. Tuvo Teravainen in second. It's just I'm looking at this lineup, and there's some good players here. Don't get me wrong, but like this is not going to work. Like you got a 19, 20-year-old as your leading scorer, which is cool. But you got to surround them with something, and they're not ready to make those moves yet. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, they're trying anyway. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward with the West. And then, and actually, okay, so the 4th worst team would be the Sabres, then the Kraken. So 4 of the 5 worst teams in hockey are in the West.
Right yeah, it's interesting. But it really has been a great season. And now that we've all recovered from the Four Nations face-off, Canada keeps trying to rub it in our face. We're like, yeah, we all moved on from that. You guys should too. But like, it's looking really fun. Every game is watchable right now, and I've been watching a lot. Also want to note for you, Ray, my fantasy hockey team went from about 9th to 3rd in the last 4 weeks because of some crafty moves by myself. And I had Ovechkin, and apparently him coming back into the lineup after breaking his foot has been very beneficial for my team. So
imagine that,
basically averaging a goal a night.
Yeah, we're in the single digits now for the Gretzky chase.
He's right there. Yeah, it's about 10. I think he's 10 to go to break it.
10 to break, 9 to tie.
Yeah, and it's going to happen this season. It's amazing. The drama that was added of him missing. He would have done it already if he didn't break his foot.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
This guy's super motivated.
He is possessed to break that record.
Yeah, I think his teammates, and they know it, and they're trying to give him the puck. I mean, every empty net situation, they're trying to give him the puck.
Right, yeah. He's already set the empty net record.
So. Well, here's the other thing, too. There's some stats going around. I've said this before. He'll break it, officially making him the greatest goal scorer of all time, but he already is. I mean, when you look at what he's doing at his age versus what Gretzky did at his age, same age, it's not close. Like Gretzky had like 9 goals when he was 39. But 37 or something like that.
And I mean, to be fair, the game was also changing around Gretzky, right? Like the game, Gretzky was getting older, and I mean, he even talked about it. It's like, they didn't figure out how to stop me till I was already on my way out the door, right? Like,
well, and also you're right. The game has changed. It's not the dead puck era. But you can make. I mean, the goaltending is so much better today. He is the greatest goal scorer I have ever seen. It does not matter who's in net.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to following that with great haste.
Yes.
Hurry up, Ovi. We're all waiting.
Yes.
And soon Gretzky's going to start traveling around with you because he's got to be there for it.
Right. He's got to be. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. Probably when it gets to about 3 goals, he'll probably start traveling with him, I would imagine. Because you never know. Maybe when he's I would say he was I would say when he's a hat trick away, he'll probably start going
that's most likely. That would be my guess. I know Gordie Howe was following Gretzky around when he was getting close to breaking it. And Gretzky used to say he felt bad because he's like, I got to score, man. I don't want Gordie to follow me around. That's the type of person he says, I feel bad making this guy travel so much.
Yeah.
He scored. It's like a relief. Oh, thank God. Yeah. Again, when Gretzky broke that record, one of the gifts the NHL gave him, which I thought was the coolest thing ever, was a book of every score sheet from every goal he had ever scored. And you can bet that book was like 700 pages long.
Yeah.
I hope they do that for him as well.
I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with that.
That was a cool, one-of-a-kind gift.
Yeah.
I'll end this by this, reminding everybody. I get asked so often, oh, you think he's going to retire after he does it? No. He's going for 900.
Yeah.
All right, that's what he wants. It's not just breaking this record. He wants 900-plus goals because no one's ever done that. There's one thing to break Gretzky. It's another thing, and again, don't get me wrong. That's the what do you want to call it? That's like getting to the top of the mountain. But getting above 900, you set a new peak.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, solidly a new peak. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants 900 goals. That's not going to happen, I don't think, this season. So,
I mean, it's not impossible. He needs 16 goals to hit 900.
I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, he would need a goal a game basically the rest of the way.
I don't think it's going to happen. Plus, I don't think he's done after this season. I just don't see.
No, I think he's going to play at least one more year. I agree with that.
I imagine he'd play as long as Crosby does. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean he's 39. He'll be 40. He'll be 40 just before the start of next season.
I was 39 once.
I'm still 39.
I always hate remembering that he's younger than me.
Yeah, he's 5 months younger than me.
You know what I hate, Ray? When I was growing up, like me, people would say things like, "Yeah, well, he's from my draft year." I'm like, "Your draft year? Were you drafted?" No, it's just my draft year. I'm like, well, you got a little gumption saying my draft year. I mean, you might want to say we're the same age, or he's a year younger than me.
Yeah.
But my draft year, Ray, I don't ever say my draft year.
Yeah.
I don't like to judge. Really, you know me, Ray. I'm pretty curious. But when someone says, that guy's from my draft year, I go, okay. At least lie to me and see them. I had fantasy draft. I was drafted in fantasy. And Alex Ovechkin, man, we'll do a full talk about that when you do it. But I'm gonna say it again, greatest goal scorer already. Been a bit, him and Crosby now coming to the pinnacle or the ending of they're in the twilight of their careers.
Yeah.
What gifts. And Ray, I'm writing a book right now about 90s hockey, and it's funny because when you look at the end of the 90s and really what led up to the 2004-05 lockout, which really is kind of the end of that era, we were gifted with these two guys, and they have completely, Crosby and Ovechkin, completely lived up to that hype, right? And now they're gonna pass it on, and unlike
we've got McDavid and everything, right?
You got McDavid, you got McKinnon, you got Bedard. I mean, you got so much talent, and Makar. This is one of the easiest baton passes in NHL history. It was not so easy after Gretzky left. The guys that were there after Gretzky that seemed obvious did not carry the baton.
No, that's very true.
Lindros, Jágr did not, unfortunately, do it the way he was supposed to do it.
Right.
It just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. And
Lemieux got sick, and
Yeah. I mean, I will say though that McDavid's already done it. It's not like he's gonna nosedive, and the guy he's just got to win a Stanley Cup essentially. Okay, hockey, my favorite sport. Ray, I want to talk about our next football topics because they're good.
Before we get to football,
damn, every time
I know. Before we get to football, I want to mention this is my theory. Because
you did
I wanted to bring this up.
I'm sorry, you did say that you need to talk about this. I apologize.
The rumors have been gaining. I've been saying this for months.
You have.
And the rumors are now getting steam that there will be a baseball lockout after this season when the CBA is up in 2026. And I wanted to transition from hockey to this because I feel like this could be an opportunity for baseball. As bad as a lockout will be, hockey reinvented itself in the 2004 lockout. right? 2005, excuse me. Yes.
No worries. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. In the hockey lockout, I was just looking at Ovechkin was drafted in 2004. That's what anyway. This could be a chance for baseball. I mean, a very similar position. They're losing all their TV rights.
Yeah.
Right. They're people are leaving the sport in droves. People are calling it boring and slow and like this is a chance for baseball. Now, my worry is that obviously you have Tony Clark and head of the MLBPA, and you have Rob Manfred as the commissioner. That you probably don't have the right people in charge to take advantage of this. But I'm telling baseball fans out there, this is an opportunity.
It is
to fix the sport, to save the sport. Right? You didn't do it in '94, which is really when you should have fixed the sport and saved the sport. We did get the wild card out of that, but that wasn't enough. This is a chance for people to step up, to put their egos aside, which probably won't happen, especially in today's day and age, and to do what's best for the game.
Yeah, bring in robot umps. And that's what's here's the thing. That's what it's going to take is a lockout for that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to that point. I mean, they are doing the balls and strikes challenges now in spring training. I do think we will see that implemented.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
But I legitimately think, first off, the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to close this deferment loophole, right? People, much like, and that's what happened. That's one of the things that happened in hockey, right? Remember what was it, Ilya Kovalchuk or whatever, who got a 14-year deal from the Devils, and all the money was backloaded for after he would retire or whatever, and then he ran to Russia and left it on the table. Anyway, that's a different story. But all of that deferment money that's happening now with Ohtani and basically every freaking Dodger. What is it? Bregman just did that kind of a deal in Boston. Closing that, you're going to close that loophole because again, the spirit of the law for the deferments is now being, much like our real world country, is that there's a spirit of the law and then there's the letter of the law.
Right.
There's a lot of people who are like, well, it's not the letter of the law, so screw your spirit.
Well, you make the game unfair. And again, look, nothing's going to happen in the contracts that are already written. This is going to be grandfathered in.
100%.
It's just going to be, I mean, it's probably not, it's going to be a happy medium in the sense of if they do this, it will probably be something like a certain percentage of the contract has to be paid in the first 25% of the contract or something like that. Yeah. And it's not going to be 90%.
Right.
Odds are it'll probably be closer to 50.
Right.
All right. It's not gonna fix the issue. It'll band-aid it to the point of, we understand because look, everyone's got to understand this is a business. Yep. It is sports entertainment, very much like WWE.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're going to do what's best for business. You know what's best for business? Ohtani being on the Dodgers and however they make that happen. So my point is that the MLB is not going to screw its owners over. Right. But it will put something in place where people and fans can go, okay, whatever, we can do that. All right. The NHL lockout in 2005 was one of the dumbest lockouts in history. The players got absolutely nothing from it. Their demands were absolutely ridiculous. When it was over, a lot of players said we didn't even need to do that. All right. But they made the best of it. I'm going to say it too, man. And look, Gary Bettman's going to retire in the next few years.
Yep.
And it is really a shame. And I wish people would debate me on this more, but I found out nobody can. And that's why it doesn't happen.
Right.
The guy has done more for hockey than almost anyone in my lifetime. He has not been bad for the game.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, he's been very good for the game of hockey.
Overall, yes.
All right. Not every decision has been great.
Right.
Okay. But even some of the ones like we used to rip them for hockey in the South, you cannot do that at all. No.
It's really just hockey in Atlanta doesn't work. Hockey in the South works fine. It's just Atlanta for whatever reason.
And you can be damn sure he's going to bring a team back to Atlanta one more time.
Try, even though he shouldn't. But
I'm going to say it like Gary Bettman has been the best commissioner in sports over the last 30 years. I don't think anyone can deny that when you look at all the leagues. I mean, you can make an argument for the NFL, with not for Goodell.
I was gonna say Goodell, definitely not, but
you can make Tagliabue. You can make a pretty good argument that he elevated the NFL to something massive. Yeah. I would say that,
right?
But Bettman has been a tremendous commissioner for hockey. Yeah. Right? When you look at it's been 31 years. When you look at what he was, it 92 or it was 92. Sorry, it's been more. It's been almost 40 years he's been doing this.
Yeah,
and you look at hockey back in 92 when we had a president, like the president of hockey. and look at it now, it's undeniable.
Yeah.
Undeniable.
Yeah.
So the MLB is dealing with way more money and way more loopholes. Just bringing it back to this, you got to figure that loophole out. You got to bring in robot umps.
Yeah,
I'm glad. I hope to God they bring this challenge system in this year, right? Because again, that's one of those things. Fans will go, okay,
yeah.
you know, I can live with that.
Yeah, 100%. It's super quick. It's super quick. It's seconds.
Well, it's because they already know.
Yeah. No, exactly.
It's the same way we know at home.
Yeah, you had the computers.
Yeah, I saw one yesterday, Ray. I saw one yesterday that gave an accuracy within 0.05%.
Yeah.
The human eye can't even do that. I don't know what we're waiting on at this point.
No, and by the way, the same thing in NFL, you should do the same thing by putting a chip in the football already for first down markers. Like,
pretty easy.
You played with it, you said no, and now you're like, we're going to revisit that after everything got screwed, after the Bills got screwed again. But anyway,
the foosball.
But yeah, I think like, look, and here's the thing. Baseball's never going to have a salary cap. They needed to institute that in the 70s when they had their chance, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Now it's too late. You can't put that genie back in the bottle.
No, they make enough money not to do it. That's where luxury tax comes in.
Well, yeah, that's where the luxury tax comes in. And I mean, look, and maybe you want to put maybe a ceiling on individual player contracts, do something like what the NBA does with like a max contract or something. Maybe that could be worked in or something. But this is, there's going to be a lockout.
They're not going to do shit with that. I'm going to say it right now.
Probably not, but I can hope. But because nobody should be making the money that they're making, but not to play baseball. But I'll say this again. I think that there's going to be a lockout. Get ready. After this year, there's going to be a lockout. You're going to lose a year of Ohtani and Judge and Soto and every star in the game right now in their prime is going to lose a year because baseball can't get its act together. But hopefully, at the end, you'll get all of these TV deals. That's the other thing. The one thing that the NHL didn't do and also needs to do, and that baseball should take this opportunity to do, is fix the blackout rules, as in get rid of them. Okay, you want to grow the sport? Make it so that people can watch the damn sport. Like, it's pretty freaking simple.
Yeah.
Like, that drove me nuts yesterday with the I don't have NHL Network, so I couldn't watch the Rangers and Islanders. I'm like, anyway. Gosh. Don't make me pay for a whole nother channel just to watch 3 games a year. Anyway, but moving on. Speaking of television and speaking of all kinds of stuff, Hard Knocks is on life support.
Yeah, of course they are.
The New York Giants have killed Hard Knocks almost to the point where they can't even do the NFL anymore. They're going to college to follow Bill Belichick with
brilliant.
UNC.
It's brilliant for Belichick. He's going to get to show everybody he's the greatest coach of all time, and he's going to get his NFL job back.
Yep.
This is playing out perfectly for him, but I would not be surprised if Hard Knocks just stays with college football after this. I also think you're going to see a lot about the transfer portal. You're going to see a lot about salaries.
Yeah, after Belichick, you go to Dion or something.
Well, I'm actually pretty interested in this one, more so than the NFL ones. Like, I don't want to see subpar NFL teams talk about giving away the best player in the league.
Well, and that's the thing is that every year you look at Hard Knocks, it's like Hard Knocks with the Miami Dolphins, Knocks with the Cleveland Browns. It's like, it's the bad teams that are trying to drum up interest and support in their team. And that's why the Giants last year, because we know they're in the middle of a rebuild and have been in the middle of a rebuild. And the Giants, the Giants was such a disaster. And everybody in the organization was so embarrassed.
And that's not going anywhere, by the way, people. That's going to be around for a long time.
Those memes, those moments are now locked in forever. I mean, honestly, short of Joe Shane turning this team around in the next 2 years and winning a Super Bowl in the next 4, he will never work in the league again.
I'm going to say this. This was a career ender, possibly. No, it was so bad they mercied him into being the GM again. I really believe that because I think they really know. Because I don't think he's a bad guy.
I don't know. I don't think any of these guys are bad guys.
And I guarantee you that decisions
I think they're dumb guys.
I think decisions like this happen across professional sports all the time.
100%.
All right. And I think they just caught this one on camera. And I think the Giants said, you know what, listen, you're a good guy. We will. This is our fault that this happened. We're going to give you another year. All right. And with a quarterback of your choosing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's
rock bottom for the Giants. Only one way to go now.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing, and the reason why it is also rock bottom is that the Giants had a trade in place for Matthew Stafford to finish his career as a New York Giant. And Matthew Stafford was like, that's my option?
The Giants.
The Giants?
Or my team that actually is in the playoffs.
Or the team that, it's like,
right.
He's like, I'll take a pay cut, which is what he's doing, to stay in LA with a team that's playoff built. Has made the playoffs, 4 of the last 5 years?
Yeah. And won a Super Bowl.
And stay with McVay and won him a Super Bowl. And he's like, I'm just going to finish my career as a Ram. I'm not going to the Giants. The organization it's got that Hard Knocks gave the Giants organization a black eye.
We'll be recovering from this for a minute, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, horrible. To the point where, now our option, they're talking about Aaron Rodgers. I don't want him. Please don't sign Aaron Rodgers to a 1-year deal. I get it. He'd be a bridge. I do not want Aaron Rodgers anywhere near my organization.
They're not going to do that. You're going to draft the quarterback. Look, here's a question for you from the Hard Knocks standpoint. Mm-hmm. This is a fair question. I don't know if you can get any better. I know this hurts the Giants. I don't know if you can get any better TV than that. That might have been the peak of Hard Knocks when you think about it. What are you going to get better than that?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get a top 15 team to do it.
No.
Right? Because they're not giving their stuff away. That's just not going to happen. So the move to Belichick is brilliant. Belichick has, his publicist is probably like, this is a dream. You're going to get your NFL job back.
Yep. His girlfriend is thrilled. She's going to get more TV time. His 20-year-old girlfriend.
UNC football is going to be talked about for the first time in history.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about that. And then, again, guys, here's the deal. With the new transfer portal rules, the payment rules, the NIL rules, you're going to see a lot of NFL coaches now go to the NCAA. You don't have to deal with teenagers because everybody's been playing for the league. If you're a top team, you're just going to be essentially trading for players in the transfer portal. And then on top of it, and I say this all the time, Ray, you only have to deal with these players for a few years and it resets.
Yep.
You never get old in a college football environment. You never get old. You do the same message for 50 effing years. You won't get old. In the NFL, you get old.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, and again, that goes back to even we talked about Patino at the top of the show. It's why wherever he goes, his method works because it worked before. And to your point, in college, you don't have to change nearly as much as you do in the NFL.
No, you got to evolve with the times, but that's a lot different than changing the message in the room. You can get old
100%.
Real quick. All right?
100%. Oh, goodness. Speaking of changing with the times and things evolving and changing, and we're going to go now a little bit into wrestling. WWE, the Elimination Chamber.
Man, let's just set this up real quick because we talked about the week before not being so great. And I believe I'm gonna ask for some more flowers here, Ray, because I did say, I'm going to let you describe it, that the WWE tends to right itself. They tend to find a way past the bullshit. And I think that they did that at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Yes. As bad as The Rock's first promo was, the possibilities of this payoff are phenomenal.
Yeah. It was just too long and stupid. That could have been accomplished in 4 minutes.
That is the thing. And we kind of said it. It's it wasn't that the message was bad or what it was setting up. It was that the way he said it and the meanderingness of it.
Let's just replay it real quick. So, The Rock basically talking with Cody Rhodes about, your soul is mine. And
I want your soul. I want
your in which he should have said a little easier or better was just that you've proven yourself worthy of being a corporate champion.
Right.
That's what he should have said.
Yeah.
And I want your soul.
He didn't want to reuse the language of the Attitude Era.
Sure. It felt like he was you have proven yourself worthy of being my champion would have been a better thing. All right. And the time will come when I will ask for your hand. And that's it. It could have been a 1-minute promo, but he can't do that because he's The Rock. Right. And just left us with that. It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Right. And then again, what is going to come out there is he should have reminded everybody, I have this dirt on you and I will bring it out. See you next week at Elimination Chamber.
Yep.
And then let's fast forward. We get through Elimination Chamber.
Yes, which was a great PLE overall. We had two returns before the final thing, which we'll get to. We had Randy Orton come back. It looks like setting up Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens in a grudge match at WrestleMania, which should be a lot of fun. We had Jade Cargill come back, which was expected, and much like we expected as well. She went after Naomi, which is going to basically break up that tag team. And now it's just a matter of, was Bianca the mastermind? Is this going to be a heel run for Bianca? which is what everybody's been clamoring for a while. Is Naomi going to get a heel run? But basically, you're gonna break up that group, which also makes a ton of sense because they no longer have the tag titles. Let Liv and Raquel run with those for a while. Even though I am rooting hard against Bianca at Mania, because also, by the way, last night, surprise, super shock, Rhea Ripley lost the title last night on Monday Night Raw. Io Sky is your new women's champion heading into WrestleMania to take on Bianca. And I think part of that is going to be, either A, this is going to turn into, Rhea's going to demand her rematch at Mania. It's going to turn into a triple threat. Or B, Rhea will somehow screw Bianca to kind of get those two feuding with each other again because, because Rhea wants to dispel that she can only do anything when she's either chasing or having the title. I think also Bianca needs to be a heel. Again, I mentioned it, but Bianca needs to be a heel again. I think that's going to be interesting to see how it comes out. A lot of stuff happening on Friday Night SmackDown with those stories. But it was a good PLE. And then it's the final two, the two that we expected. It's Punk versus Cena in the Elimination Chamber to see who gets the spot against Cody Rhodes. Seth Rollins, his obsession and anger with CM Punk, by the way, leading to a steel cage match next week on Raw. He costs Punk before he leaves the cage. Cena basically chokes out Punk. So again, Punk didn't tap. He choked out. He was choked out, which is good because it makes him seem still. He doesn't keeps him strong. Cena becomes the number one contender. It's like he said after the Royal Rumble. This is best for business. Hint, 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 hint.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah. Cody comes out, shakes Cena's hand. They both point at the sign, blah, blah, blah. The Rock comes out with Travis Scott. Yeah, the sign. Travis Scott comes out, which, by the way, we'll get into it. Travis Scott punched Cody and legit gave him a black eye and might have busted his eardrum because that's what happens when you have musicians who don't know what the hell they're doing try to do wrestling stuff. Anyway, that's a whole different story. Freaking joke. Celebrity wrestlers. Ugh. Anyway, The Rock comes out and he's like, Cody Rhodes, is your soul mine? And then Cody, of course, is like, my soul is no longer mine to give because I gave it to the people and to this ring years ago. Everybody cheers. Cena's like, yeah, that's great. And then Cody drops an F-bomb, which, PLE, you can do that, although I'm sure Peacock still wasn't happy about it. But he's like, go F yourself, Rock. And everyone was like, oh! Even Michael Cole was like, oh! And then Terminator Cena.
It was so good.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I'm doing the you can't see me. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, Cena hugs Cody, and then Rock gives him the slit his throat signal. Cena low blow, proceeds to beat the living snot out of Cody. And we thought we were going to get a heel turn at some point during Elimination Chamber, and it ended up being Cena, corporate Cena, on his mad chase for a 17th title. For the first time, you can actually since Halloween 2003,
wow.
John Cena is officially a heel, right? The last time Cena was a heel was leading up to Survivor Series, and then he became a face when he basically told Brock Lesnar to go F himself when Brock asked Cena to be part of his Survivor Series team. That was the last time that was when Cena went from heel to face, and has been a face for almost 22 years since then. Literally since Halloween of 2003. And now we have heel Cena again. His last run in WWE, he started as a heel. Technically, he started as a face, but he became a star as a heel. And he's going to go out as a heel. I think he's going to win the title. I don't know if he's going to win at Mania, but he will win the title at some point.
Yeah. He
will break the record. And I can't wait for this. I am so happy. People have been clamoring for this for years, for him to go back to being a heel. I love seeing all the kids who are crying online from it. They're calling it the Break-A-Wish Foundation now. They're calling, which, by the way, I think WWE has already trademarked. See, they are leaning into the point where even in the press conference, Cena after the show came out, picked up the microphone from the table, dropped it on the table, and then walked out without saying a word.
It was brilliant.
It's brilliant. This is the most. I am so excited to be going to WrestleMania again this year because, oh my gosh, this is going to be great now. I am so here for heel Cena.
It was beautifully executed. Yes. I don't think this sounds going to sound funny. I don't think Cena could have pulled off the Terminator face 20 years ago. I think there's something in whether it's his acting.
He's a little older.
Yeah, he's a little older. It's just the way you can hear it like dun 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 dun. Yeah. It was a great turn. I actually think he does win this at WrestleMania.
I hope so.
And you have now heel Cena in charge, and it sets up your next babyface.
Yes.
All right. And I don't know who that's going to be yet.
Yeah. Hopefully not Cody.
It might be. It might not be. I mean, I listen. It could be a lot of different people, a lot of different things. It could be. You go back to Roman if you want. There's a lot of things you could do.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think they'll do that. I think it's more likely an Uso will come up and do it. But
well, you already have Jay going against Gunther.
I know, but I'm talking about the following year. So it's and I don't know if Cena's going to hold the belt for a year. Probably not.
But, no, I think that he drops it by. I think he'll win it here, and I think he'll drop it like at SummerSlam or something.
This is what I think. I'm going to proclamate this now, so you can give me my flowers in maybe less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Triple H and The Rock and all these guys were in a writing room, and one of them went, "You know what? I really like Star Wars." All right, and last year's WrestleMania was A New Hope. You legit had Han Solo coming at the end. Come on, kid, let's blow this thing and go home. Yoo-hoo! All right, it's exactly the feeling you got. The Death Star blew up, and you got your finish. All right, this is now the Empire Strikes Back year. All right, the Empire will strike back at WrestleMania. The bad guys will win, setting up Return of the Jedi. And I think you're right, Ray. That'll be a SummerSlam event. I don't think it's going to be another WrestleMania.
Yeah.
All right, Return of the Jedi. Who's that going to be? I don't know yet. Could be Cody. Could be someone else.
Maybe it's Randy.
Maybe it's Randy Orton. That's a good point. They're bringing people back.
Yep.
That's what I think they did. People love Star Wars, the original ones. All right.
Yeah.
So I think your Empire Strikes Back is coming. I think Cena 100% wins. It might be Punk, dude. Like there's a lot of.
Well, there's possibility. There's rumors that Punk is going to call in his favor from Paul Heyman to make that a triple threat.
Right.
Like
it's the Empire Strikes Back. It was a great turn. It paid off.
Yeah.
The Rock was pretty good too. I mean, like again, they found a way, right? They found a way, and now this is fun. All right, but seeing Cena's face turn, man, that was pretty good acting. Nobody. It's just you gotta go from the. And then the press conference was beautiful. Yeah, we can't do it. You can't. We don't have a gigantic upper lip. You have a little upper lip.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It doesn't matter. Great job, WWE. Well done. It was fun. It was one of the top turn moments in WWE history.
And now we've got 7 weeks to see how this plays out to build up the Mania.
I will say, in a hindsight 2020, this makes a lot of sense. I'm actually a little embarrassed. Maybe we didn't call this one because it's like that makes a lot of sense. But all right.
I mean, I think we mentioned that possibly Cena turns, but it felt like
it didn't feel like they would go that way. But
it didn't. That felt like a long shot, right?
Yeah. It was well done.
And the fact that and nobody knew about this outside of Cena.
Yeah.
I think Cody, Triple H, and The Rock.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? Like it was literally that was it. To the point
where
Travis Scott, where Triple H basically told everybody who was in the truck, he's like, I'm taking full control of this now.
Yeah.
Because nobody else knew what was about to happen.
Right.
Except for him from the production team. And probably one of the writers, Rock has a couple of writers on his team. Like very, very small circle of people knew what was happening. So to the point now, we're also now on Raw last night. It's just CM Punk is reacting to what happened. AJ Styles is just reacting to what it's just the whole industry is reacting to what happened. That's how big a moment this was. Yeah. This was a modern take on Hogan being the third man
it's totally
in the NWO.
What it was. Yeah. It's totally what it was. That it's exactly what it is. And it's great storytelling, number one. And number two is that, the story's not finished because now what happens is, DJ and Cena come out at some point and unveil this master plan, right? It's just, it's well done.
Yeah. Very much well done. So, transitioning a little bit from wrestling, another all-time great wrestler, of course, is the legendary Jeff Jarrett, who's over in AEW now. Last Outlaw, trying to do one more ride, trying to maybe get a title over there. Of course, spent a lot of time in TNA, a lot of time in WWE. He is one of the biggest backers now, as we move fully into the Geek section of folks may remember this company if you're old enough. They've been defunct since 2004. Acclaim, which was originally a shoot off of Activision back in the day.
Activision,
and they used to do a whole lot of licensed products, and they did some sports games.
They were great.
Yeah. And then, like a lot of companies, sometimes they don't last. But Jeff Jarrett is one of the primary backers between bringing back Acclaim as a game publisher, which honestly is a good thing because goodness knows we need more gaming jobs, and this obviously will bring more gaming jobs. But there's definitely, especially now with the way licensing is going in games, and there's so many IP out there, this is probably a good thing that maybe not the big publisher that they once were, or maybe a more boutique kind of smaller publisher. Maybe they'll focus on indies. Again, it's not easy. We've seen a lot of quote unquote boutique publishers over the last few years come up and then put out one or two games and then die off because they didn't make any money. But interesting to see, Jeff Jarrett talked about his history with Acclaim and the wrestling games they used to do and things of that nature, and how it's a brand near and dear to his heart. And I think it's just interesting to see that we have a small rosebud out of all the ashes that have been the gaming industry of the last 3 years, with the return of a brand like this. And we'll see what happens. And so interesting to get that news this morning, Lee.
Yeah, it is. And like I said, it's good in the final days of AEW to see something nice happen.
Yes. Yeah. Talk about, again, something else is going to be burned to the ground soon. Anyway, Lee, we now move over to movies. You finally saw
a movie.
Yes, you saw a movie. So I saw it. I gave it a solid 7 out of 10. Lee, I'm going to get your thoughts now that you've seen Captain America: Brave New World, and it's completely inconsequential post-movie credit scene. What your thoughts are on the entire film?
Well, Ray, those critics, man, they panned it, and they were absolutely not right at all. This movie was awesome. I am blown away with the negative criticism of this film. Okay, it was its own Captain America film, and it had distinctly different flavor than the Chris Evans Captain Americas, which it needed to do.
Yeah,
the story was fine. I had no issues with the storyline of this film. It was fun. You followed along. You brought back a lot of people from Hulk, the Incredible Hulk film, which was way overdue. Kind of showing that Marvel can do that really well. All right, the leader, the way it was done. People go, it's just like Winter Soldier. Felt nothing to me like Winter Soldier. Maybe you could say echoes of it, but not at all the same film.
No.
Just did a beautiful job of establishing Sam as Captain America.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. It was fun. I don't know what people are bitching about.
I really
don't. It was fun. If this was a Phase 1 film, it would have been one of the best movies ever made. I mean, that's what people would be saying. Go see it. Go see it. It was awesome. Go see it.
Again, I think my biggest problem with it, as we're going to get into,
this wasn't
in a couple weeks.
Yeah, this wasn't the film.
No, the biggest problem was the marketing.
Yeah,
I think the biggest right. I think that gave it too much away so that it's a little predictable. But this is still a very solid film. It's not my favorite Marvel film, but it is a very good, solid to good film. Again, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I would recommend you seeing this. Maybe you get a matinee if you don't want to spend full ticket price or whatever. But I don't understand, again, aside from the fact that maybe people are disappointed that the big reveal was spoiled in the trailer. Other than that, I liked this movie a whole bunch.
Good.
And even then, I still liked that reveal. It just wasn't the oh my God moment that they probably wanted it to be.
And look, here's the thing. That wasn't even the pinnacle of the film. The pinnacle of the film happens prior to that.
Yeah.
To me, it was like a bonus add-on, right? And it's like, I think what they did wrong was they tried to hide the pinnacle of the film with the Red Hulk when it should have been the other way around. Like they should have said, like, who's going to control adamantium? That would have got me really excited. Like, who's going to control adamantium? And then didn't do it. You know, again, this is kind of reminds me of when Thor Ragnarok came out. Now I think that the Thor Ragnarok trailer with Immigration Song might have been the great. I'm sorry, Immigrant Song, not Immigration Song. Might have been the greatest trailer ever made. I mean, it's in the top 3 trailers all time for me. But that trailer too, they unveiled Hulk. He's in this universe.
Yeah.
And I think we all said at the time, I wish they hadn't have said that, because that scene is one of the greatest scenes ever.
Yeah.
He's a friend from work.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I think that they sacrificed, here's a great plot for Red Hulk. Guys, look, it's Red Hulk. Red Hulk's in the film. And it's Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Because again, the plot of the film, this is a full spoiler review, is that they did a beautiful job of tying in Eternals in a way that was not overly done. That you know, the celestial that is rising up is made of adamantium.
Yep.
And the world is fighting for control.
Yeah.
Man, that's actually a pretty relevant story for today's world. And they kind of hint to that in the trailer, like adamantium, like, oh
yeah,
you could have done that. We would have been speculating about Wolverine and the X-Men, and then Red Hulk shows up. What a payoff! What a job! Great work. And then, you know, it ends. But great film. I'm excited about it. I said to you too on the phone after I saw it that this is no one's fault. You know, Harrison Ford did a great job as Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
But it was a little not awkward. It was tough when you've seen William hurt in that road. God rest his soul. And it's like it's suddenly a different person. And I remember after the film having mild disappointment's not the right word, but just like I wish we could have seen how William hurt.
I would have loved to have seen how William hurt.
Yeah. Is that remorse? I don't know what that is.
And that's I think remorse, regret. I think that it's like it's not a knock against Harrison Ford.
Not at all. He did fine. He did fine.
Great. But to your point, it
does
make you think.
Yeah.
It does make you think, I miss William Hurt. And I think that's nobody's fault.
He did it. And again, like, you know, you got to kind of attach the character to Harrison Ford, which is a little hard. Because it hasn't been Harrison Ford for the last 15 years.
Right. I mean, and I appreciate they basically kind of do tease it. Like they even show Harrison Ford in a flashback photo with a mustache, which I thought was funny. But then he was like, it was like lose the stash or lose the election. So, you know.
Yeah, they did a good job. It was just, you know, sometimes I wonder how many Marvel fans knew that's who that was. And Harrison Ford's a very different actor than William Hurt.
100%.
You know, so that departure was mildly uncomfortable, but not bad.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I loved Carl Lumbly as returning as Isaiah Bradley, being a big part of this.
This is great. He was great. He almost stole the show. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for his scenes for sure. He was phenomenal. And I think that there's I mean, again, my thing is we talked about, you know, where does it go from here? The fact that Japan was the biggest, I guess, antagonist for the US.
Adamantium.
For adamantium. Well, I told you this on the phone. I'm like, oh, that makes me think Silver Samurai.
Yep.
Which again ties into Wolverine.
Right.
Right.
It was specifically Japan for a reason.
Yeah, I think they're going to do something with Wolverine and Silver Samurai, and that's how maybe they introduce Wolverine into this universe.
Yeah.
As opposed to, or at least, and somehow maybe that movie ends with Bone Claw Wolverine being sent to Canada with a whole bunch of adamantium for him to become adamantium Wolverine. Like there's
a lot of places you could go.
They could go a lot of places with it, but that made me maybe Wolverine's already going to be established, right? And then they just do a movie. They do something with him in Silver Samurai, right? Like
but I think this is going to be well after Doomsday, and like this is years away.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's anything Marvel's establishing with this Captain America film, right? It's like, look, we can go back to films from 15 years ago, and we can reference whenever we want.
Yep.
You know, and you people watching need to be patient.
Yeah. Well, and that also brings me up quickly. I didn't mention this in the rundown. Have you seen all the leaks? Supposed leaks for the concept art?
I don't know what to make. I don't know if these are red herrings or what. I mean, they're fun leaks. I mean, I don't have a problem with any of the leaks.
Yes.
I like seeing the Young Avengers. I like the idea of Star-Lord leading the Young Avengers.
Yep. With white
vision, which makes perfect sense because what that connects is that Vision Quest will bring speed with Wiccan, and that at the end of that show they will round up all of the Young Avengers and find Star-Lord on Earth. That makes perfect sense to me. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, because we know Star-Lord is on Earth now at the end of Guardians 3.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I can see Vision. We need to find someone who knows how to build a team. It's perfect.
Yes. Yep.
Doom, gave us, very much an alternate universe. I mean, I do think that the after credit scene of Cap 4, again, spoiler, is when the leader basically says, "I've done the probability, the others are coming." And, well, I'm guessing he's alluding to the multiverse at that point.
Either the multiverse or, again, from the one thing that came out was the end of Eternals was that there's more we know there's more Celestials out there.
Yeah.
We also know Galactus is obviously coming in Fantastic Four. So it kind of, again, is just kind of a very general, broad tease of the universe is getting even bigger.
Yeah. And what I will predict is, and a lot of fans are not going to like this if it happens, is that we're going to find an alternate Earth where the Avengers are the bad guys, where yes, Tony Stark is Doom, or somehow becomes Victor Von Doom. I don't know. We're going to find an alternate universe where the Avengers as we know them are bad.
You might get Hydra Cap or something there.
Well, I think it's more likely that they killed Cap, and that's what led the way for this to happen. Yeah. Maybe you do get Hydra Cap. I don't know, but my point is that I think you're going to see an anti-Avengers, and I think that's also why the other big takeaway from Cap 4 is we need to put the Avengers together again.
Yes, that is the other big thing. Yes,
yeah. So he's going to rebuild the Avengers. Now, who's in the Avengers? We don't know. All right, but I think the prediction, Ray, that we made years ago, which is that the next Avengers films are going to be not the Avengers assembling, but teams assembling. Young Avengers, Thunderbolts, the Avengers, wherever they want to take the Marvels. I was just gonna say where they want to take the Marvels, which is going to be the X-Men, the Fantastic Four. These are all teams now coming to fight.
Yep.
All right. I do hope Loki plays a larger role in that storyline at some point.
Yeah, it comes back at some point. Yeah.
All right. I don't know where Thor is at. I mean, he's just with Love.
He's just. I mean, he's available, but he's just off in space right now.
He's off with his daughter, right, or stepdaughter, I guess you should say. So they're around, right?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but that's what I think is setting up. Now, there is a rumor that they're going to forgive Majors and let him come back.
Yep.
Which I'm not. I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm not opposed to it, but they got to make it make sense. They got to
well, you bring him back and kill him off. That's what you do.
Maybe
right? You don't let him go forward with the storyline. The guy's guilty still.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure, but at the end, he also technically paid his debt to society. So
sure. Then kill him off and move on with Doom. You can't have them both now, right?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's like
I'm going to say it again. The smartest thing they did by accident was make that Council of Kangs. They're all in one place.
Yeah, but the other thing is they've also said though that they don't want RDJ as Doom for more than 2 movies.
Yeah, I think that Doom is going to lead to a real Doom.
Well, that's the hope, right? Is that you get an actual Doom again? I'm available.
You're not Doom.
I could be Doctor.
You could not be Doom.
Oh, kneel before Carsillo.
You're not feeling it.
Anyway,
Zod would have done it, but no.
Yeah, we all know that I just grow the beard back, and then I'm Non from.
You're Non or the Penguin.
I could be the Penguin.
You'd be the best Penguin there is.
Yeah. Again, I'm probably Mole Man in Marvel Universe, but
you did too good at DC. You did too good of a Penguin, and it all fell apart.
I know. Everything else fell apart. Real quick, there's another quick rumor that Oscar Isaac might be playing multiple characters going forward now in the Marvel Universe, because not only are they going to have him as Moon Knight, but they also might bring back, at least for some of these one of these multiverse films, his version of Apocalypse.
Right.
And they'll be like, we're going to do it good this time.
Yeah, I listen, I didn't hate Apocalypse as much as people did. I thought that was another movie that got panned too much. I thought X-Men Dark Phoenix was one of the worst films I've ever seen. But I didn't mind Apocalypse. I actually thought they did a good job with that film. I still don't know why people hated that so much.
I think that they did. I think it kind of it didn't culminate. The final battle against Apocalypse didn't feel as epic as I think folks wanted it to.
I loved it.
Yeah. I feel like Apocalypse is more of a physical threat, whereas this was more of a manipulative behind the scenes, even though that's what obviously Apocalypse also does in the comics. He's also very brilliant, but he's also a physical dominating force. And I don't felt like
then I would have said this, right? Is that what that film suffered from is that X-Men is not Marvel in the sense of it's not the Avengers, and that's a multiple film arc, like because Apocalypse is a Thanos level villain, and it's tough to do.
You needed to have a film where he's just going around building his 4 horsemen.
Yeah, that would have been good. Or several films where it's like with the Thanos and the stones and things, like you get a new one each one. Yeah.
Age of Apocalypse should have been like a trilogy.
Yeah, they missed
instead of a one-off, and so a lot of it
that is fair criticism. But with that said, it was the X-Men Fox universe, so I didn't expect that. So I don't know why anybody else did. Like again, I'm starting to think there's not superhero fatigue. I think people are spoiled, and you want the Avengers every film, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah. You need to build up to those payoffs.
Cap 4 was a great standalone film.
Yes.
100%. Period.
So we mentioned a little bit about Superman in DC, and we're going to end the show on a somber note.
Yeah, but again, celebratory note.
Yes. The great, legendary Gene Hackman passed away at the age of 95. There were some questions around the death, but it sounds like more just that they unfortunately did not find him for some time, even though he was living with his wife in Santa Fe. It looks like it was an accident, basically an accident where he passed away and then she had an accident. And so unfortunately they both passed away.
Yeah.
And anyway, again, I'm not, they're still investigating it. Yeah, all signs point to natural causes for him and an accident for her. Which is very, very unfortunate.
He had an extremely great life, and he was a great actor. And to many of us, obviously, we'll remember him as Lex Luthor. But for me as a sports guy, the Replacements, Hoosiers. I mean, he's one of the best coaches in cinematic history. Yeah, and again, he had a lot of roles. Unforgiven, we can't forget that.
I mean, French Connection. He has had another guy who kind of broke out, quote unquote, late in his life.
Yeah, in the 90s. He was older then. He was probably in his 60s then.
Well, I mean, even at the French Connection, he was 35, right? And that was considered his breakout role, right? And then he plays Lex Luthor in Superman, and then does that throughout the 80s, and then really just becomes enemy of the state, just like banger after banger after banger. And then he retired in his 80s. But also he had a cameo in Young Frankenstein. Like he could do comedy. Like he was just such a prolific actor. It is heartbreaking. But it also, like he said, it is celebratory because he had such an amazing career, and
you go 95 years. That's awesome.
Yeah, and he retired and he lived his last decade and a half peacefully in Santa Fe and was happy, and that's all you want from him. Like, he had a wonderful 40-year career, and then he retired and seemed to pass away peacefully.
Right. Seems. God bless you, Gene.
Yes,
Coach. Salute you,
Lex. Again, so many roles, so many just an icon, just a giant of the industry. You know what? By the way, we didn't even touch on this. We didn't even touch on it. Probably because it's absolutely irrelevant to the rest of the world. The Oscars happened this weekend.
Oh, did they? This is what I'll tell you about the Oscars. In my life, and this is not a shot at the films that won. Follow me here.
Yeah.
I don't remember not knowing so many of the films that have won an Academy Award. And I'm not going to say that they didn't deserve the award, but this just shows you how bullshit Hollywood is.
Yeah.
And that they will change their mind year to year on what's important, what's a good movie, what's not a good movie. I never heard of the Best Picture until they announced it.
Yeah. I saw Anora. I did.
Yeah, but you saw it on
I saw a screener. I got to see a screener.
Was it good? Is it a movie of the year?
Yeah.
I think
this is. I saw a fair amount of movies. I didn't see all of them, but I will say this was another one of those years where I think it was a very down year for Oscar films, and that it was probably a split vote. And I'll say Anora was solid, but because everything else around it was also just kind of solid, that it probably got like 25% of the vote, and that was enough to catapult it past a lot of these other films.
I'm looking up the nominees right now. I'll tell you what I think.
I saw Complete Unknown. Again, liked it a lot. I think Timothy Chalamet probably should have got the Oscar for that. Chalamet! That's part of the Oscars with Adam Sandler.
He should have won something. I mean, look, I don't know. I didn't see a lot of these films, man. I just think, with what Wicked did, that probably should have had a chance. I know it's a major blockbuster.
The thing is, though, is again, an adaptation of a Broadway musical is not usually going to win anymore.
Go back 70 years and it does.
No, right? Yes, you go back to the past of Hollywood.
Yeah,
not in the modern times. I mean, it won best costumes, I think. Right? I'll say this, and that also shows you. There was Anora won 5 of its 6 nominations, but every film seemed to get something.
Yeah, I just nobody watches the Oscars. Nobody. You watch the clips and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I had it on in the background while I played Avowed. I was playing video games and I had it on.
So you weren't watching it either. I'm just saying it was they can't make a mind up. Hollywood's lost a lot of people. I think it's pretty obvious.
No, and I think this year's a big thing. And I also it needs to be said. Mikey Madison won as Best Actress, and it's kind of not a surprise. Her and Demi Moore were the 2 front runners,
right?
And it's funny because there's been 97 Best Actresses awards. Mikey Madison marks the 14th one to win for playing a sex worker, which I always think is very interesting. And Demi Moore, the other front runner, is when you have a beautiful woman kind of uglier herself up, right? Charlize Theron in I can't remember
Monster.
The movie now. Monster, right? Nicole Kidman when she won, and that was why it's it feels really weird that it always just seems to fall for the women in one of those two. If you do one of those 2 things, your odds go way up.
That is really weird. You're right.
14 out of 97. That's a lot. That's a lot. It feels like. I don't know. That's something I noticed. That's a weird pattern. That's a weird pattern when you look back on the history.
It is. Yeah.
And 8 others were nominated. 8 others were nominated, including, funny enough, if you want to throw them in there, John Voight, also a sex worker in what was it? Midnight Rider or whatever, right? I think it was. Anyway.
Hollywood. High moral.
Hollywood. Yeah, it was. It's a bunch of BS every year, and a lot of I really felt this was again a down year for films. And I've gone to more movies probably than I have in years past because I had nothing else to do. And yeah, again, Anora was fine. It wasn't a bad movie, but I was just kind of all right.
Yeah,
a lot of nudity. That was cool. I don't know.
Hollywood's up its own ass. Let's just be honest. And
that's really
I don't even trust award shows. I don't trust reviews anymore. There was a time when we were growing up that you saw the Best Picture, and usually it was a phenomenal film.
Well, and that's the thing. You look at. You want to talk about the disconnect between the people in Hollywood, and this was another good year. This year was a good example of that.
Yeah.
Right. So, and even at The Substance, a body horror film. I saw The Substance 32 years ago. It was called Feats of Clay in Batman Animated Series. Come on, it was Clay. Demi Moore was Clayface. That's all it was. I mean, I know it's not quite like Clayface. I know obviously there's nuances and there's a whole thing, and there's obviously a commentary there. Obviously, I'm simplifying things for the sake of a commentary, folks. But again, it's not to me an Oscar-worthy film. Anyway, I mean, it didn't win anything to be fair, but I don't even think it should have been nominated for a lot of stuff.
No, I don't disagree.
And Ralph Fiennes gets robbed again. Again, good on Adrian Brody, but
The Brutalist was probably a great film. Again, dude, I don't have 4
hours to watch a film.
My final note is the Oscars lost me years ago.
Yeah.
And they continue to do nothing to bring me back.
Yeah. So there you go. I was just thinking about because we talked about Gene Hackman. It's we should talk about the Oscars.
Yeah, that tells you everything you need to know. In fact, we forgot.
We didn't even put it on the rundown. I completely forgot. Literally, I was Gene Hackman
again,
highlighted and bolded on my rundown, and then I'm like, oh yeah, we should talk about the Oscars that was this week. An afterthought.
Yeah.
So
anyway. Again, Timothée Chalamet is the best thing they've got going.
Chalamet.
Yeah, and they better.
I like him. He'll laugh at himself.
Yeah, well, they should reward that kid soon. All right.
I think he will get rewarded. I think that it just. It was. I'll say this. I think he should have won for a complete unknown. I don't think a complete unknown should have won Best Picture or anything like that. But I think he should have won.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name right now. I also think the woman who played Joan Baez also was a good candidate, possibly to win for Best Supporting Actress, but she did not win that. I don't even remember, unfortunately, who did win Best Supporting Actress, and I'm so sorry, but I'm blanking right now.
And that tells you everything you need to know. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But anyway, on that note,
we cue the music.
Yes. Thank you all so much for watching. Once again, Geeks Select Sports. We appreciate watching or listening wherever you are, or however you enjoy us. We appreciate it. Obviously,
real quick. It was Zoe Saldana won it.
Oh, that's right. That was a movie. That's
Kieran
right.
Culkin. Yeah.
Kieran Culkin, I remember for
A
Real Pain, but because of his hysterical speech. But
Amelia Perez.
I had about a movie that I had zero interest in seeing, and everybody I've talked to says it's one of the worst movies of the year. Like everybody, and I'm in LA. Everybody I talked to out here hated it, so I have no idea who voted for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, right? It's up its own ass. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah. Anyway,
see you next week.
See you next week, everybody. On that note, goodbye, Furley. I'm Bray. This has been Geeks Life Sports. Goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to the 67th episode of Geeks Who Like Sports. Unlike the
Season
Oscars,
2, 67.
You watched it.